How's it going, everybody? I'm Newbie Dave and welcome back to my Let's Play Minecraft series. I'm starting off today at our Froglight farm because this was the last project I worked on, and I just want to give a couple of quick updates about this farm. First of all, it has been working beautifully. This is what's left in my chest after I moved 2 full stacks of each color Froglight back to my storage room. So it has been working wonderfully. Although, to be perfectly honest, most of the Froglights have come from actually actively going out and finding magma cubes and kiting them back to the farm. I have spent some time AFK under the farm, and you just don't get as good a yield that way because it depends on magma cubes being near the farm, and they just don't spawn near the farm as quickly as you can kite them around. The other thing is, you'll notice I've got a couple of buckets of powdered snow in here. That's because of those giant floating white boxes in the sky, those annoying ghasts. I'm guessing that's why. One of my powdered snow in there disappeared, and I think it was from a ghast fireball, although fortunately none of my frogs got hurt. So now I'm keeping a few powdered snow in here just in case I need to replace those, because that's how the magma cubes die. Last thing is, you'll notice that my iron golem has taken a little bit of damage. That's somewhat my fault. I accidentally hit him with an arrow when I was trying to shoot a ghast. So I might need to bring a couple of iron ingots in here as well, so I can keep the iron golem in peak condition to attract those magma cubes. But yeah, Froglight Farm is working great. Very, very happy with this farm. And now we can head back to the overworld and get started on today's project. I've had to switch to golden carrots as my food. I guess didn't have to. It's not like the Minecraft admins came in and said, switch to golden carrots or we're canceling your account. I ran out of food and I had golden carrots on me. So I've switched to golden carrots until I run out of these, and then I'll go dig up something else from my food stores. Golden carrots are a decent food. They're not the best food in the game, but they are decent. I would probably rate cooked beef just above golden carrots. But golden carrots you can buy from certain farmer villagers with emeralds, and so they're very, very, very easy to come by. You don't have to build a farm for them or anything. So I like golden carrots. They're a good food source. So for today's project, I'm finally returning to my gold farm to put in an auto sorter, because for the most part now I've been running my gold farm not for gold, but for XP to repair my mending tools and armor and elytra and stuff, and to level up for enchantments. And so it works great, except that my current collection system backs up because I don't have an auto sorter. There's not very much storage. And so it's finally time to revisit that. I didn't do an auto sorter at the time just because after 2 or 3 episodes on one project, I need to transition to something else. I just get tired of working on one thing for too long. So I have already come in here. Oh, no, I haven't. I was about to say I have already come in here and cleaned everything out. But I haven't done that, so let's do this very quickly, and you can see the pain that I've had to go through. Let me move some of this stuff into a shulker box to free up my inventory. So yeah, just having to manually move all of these swords from one chest into the smelting chests to let them smelt up. Very slow, painful process. And this is a light load of swords. Imagine having all of the double chests full of gold swords and rotten flesh and all those other things you get from a gold farm. This could take a long time to empty out. Okay, so I decided that watching me spend 10 minutes manually moving a bunch of gold swords from one chest to another probably wasn't all that exciting. So I did one of my rare skip edits to just get through all that really fast. So while those things smelt, we're going to start by breaking down our little collection system over here. because this was always going to be temporary. This was just to give us somewhere to put everything while running the gold farm. But now we're going to be replacing it for real. I am going to leave the top chests. Those are super important. Those are what are going to be pulling items out of the hopper minecart that's on top. I guess technically the hoppers are pulling the items out into these double chests. But that is going to, these double chests are going to be the starting point for our auto sorter. So this is going to be a little bit different from the auto sorter that I did in season 2, which it should be. I shouldn't just be making the same thing over and over and over again. That's not exciting. But the main reason this one's going to be different is because this is a different gold farm with a different collection system, and it collects things much more quickly. And the sorting system that I built in season 2 would not keep up with this if all 4 of these hoppers, all 4 of these double chests funneled down into the same collection system. However, having said that, I don't want to build 4 separate item collection systems. So it is going to be kind of compact. And it's the same sort of principle in terms of how an item collection system works as season 2. I guess the main difference is it's going to be bigger. So let me break this down as well. And I need to, I'm going to put all this stuff in here. This is basically my furnace. I guess it's not my furnace chest. This is, I don't know what I would call this. I like to organize my shulker boxes by, like, here's all the redstone stuff that we're going to need for this farm. Here's my construction blocks chest. And this one was like, it was going to be stuff to do the sorting, but then also fuel and breaking down this. So I don't know. It's kind of the everything else box. And then we'll move these things as well. Just get a nice clean workspace down here. Okay, so to start with, I'm going to get some stone. And we need to start. The problem I have with auto sorters is you kind of have to build them backwards, meaning you have to build them from the bottom up. You don't have to, but because of how hoppers get placed, you have to place them facing the thing that you want. And so it's kind of easier to build them from the bottom up. Like if I just put a hopper right here, it's going to be pointing down, even if I want it pointing into something. So I have to have something there for it to point into, which in the long run will be another hopper. But since that hopper doesn't exist yet, I have to put something else there. And so that's why they're kind of easier to build backwards, is mainly because of the hoppers. So let me start with a temporary block there. And then we'll put a hopper going into that from that chest and from that chest. Actually, no. Same basic idea, but I want it to be on this side. Like that. And then I think one of these hoppers. Oh, it's just chilling up there. Okay, whatever. It's your stone now. You can deal with it. We'll do the same thing over here. So ultimately, all 4 of these chests are going to funnel into the same collection system. And what I'm going to do is build 2 auto sorters opposite each other that dump into the same place, rather than having 4 auto sorters that are all by themselves, or having 2 auto sorters that are all by themselves. It's 2 auto sorters that go into the same place. So I have 1 chest for all my rotten flesh, 1 chest for all my gold ingots, 1 chest for all my gold nuggets, and then all the gold swords will funnel into the same furnace system. I think that's just a lot more efficient to do it that way. So what that means is we're going to have a row of temporary blocks coming out this way. And these are going to represent the furnaces. I'm sorry, not the furnaces. Y'all are probably like, furnaces? What are you talking about? Those aren't furnaces. That's not how you build an auto sorter. these are going to represent the hoppers. So these are going to be going out like this. And then down the middle is where we're going to put our double chests. So let's start, and we could start like right here. I'm going to start out a little ways. So let's say right here, this is where our first, I guess, hopper that is used for sorting is going to go. And then below that, there will be another hopper that goes into a double chest. Yep. Just trying to think as I work here. So let me go get some more smooth stone. And we'll start to build out this way. And what I'm going to do is for each thing that can be sorted, so for gold nuggets, for gold ingots, for rotten flesh, I'm going to have 2 chests that they can be sorted into. So these first 2 will be, let's say, rotten flesh, and the next 2 gold ingots, and the last 2 gold nuggets. I mean, you can do it however you want. I may not even do it that way, but the point is having 2 double chests for each thing. And the reason I like to do it that way is for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know if it's capacity. I don't know if it's flow speed. But for some reason, not everything gets sorted into the first chest. If this first chest is for rotten flesh, some rotten flesh is going to make it past for some reason. I haven't figured that out. And so by having 2 for each one, we just increase the chances that all of it's going to get picked up by the sorting system that they're meant for. So now we can come back and put these hoppers going into each of these chests. And then below this, what I want to do, this may have been a little bit easier to do before I put all these hoppers in. I'm going to do a collection system that goes down. And then I'm going to have a hopper that leads from that top double chest into these chests below it. You could do the staggering double chest here, double chest there, double chest below that, and so on. But really the whole purpose of this is to just get things moved down. So I'm not going to worry about making all of them double chests. Need some more hoppers. This is going to take a lot of hoppers. It's going to take a lot of chests. I hope I brought enough wood and iron for everything. All right, so hoppers going into the top chests. And then we kind of need to get down below this. So let me do my water bucket trick. And let's go down. You can kind of go down as far as you want. You can go down let's go down at least 3. But I'm going to go down 6. I think that's a good amount here. And we're going to need to build a little platform down here as well. So the top platform is going to be our item collection system. This bottom area is going to be the actual storage area where everything gets funneled into. So this is where we're going to come to actually collect. And the top area is where it's all going to work. Whoa. I think I need like a vine or ladder or something over here to get back up from the water, because I fall a lot. That's not what I meant to do. Give me back my smooth stone. Meant to do one smooth stone thing, I guess right here. Now this, we don't need this column of smooth stone. That was just to get down here. I'll do one right there. So basically, I'm going to put scaffolding on this block to go up, so I don't have to rely on the water. There we go. So now we've got a way up and down to each of these different little platforms. And I guess we should also light this up. I'll try to do that before nightfall. So I'm going to break what's underneath each of these. Like so. And then we can do more chests and more hoppers down here. So the next set of chests are going to go under these hoppers. And then chests going, or hoppers going into those. And then we'll do another one below those. Oops, ran out of hoppers. And I'm also going to build this out a little bit more, so we've got some more room. This may end up being way too low. That's why I'm not going ahead and building this whole platform, because this thing, I'm not going to have it come all the way down to here. I think that's just way too much. Because with the exception of the rotten flesh, the others, the iron, the gold nuggets and the gold ingots, aren't really going to fill up that fast. Once we get everything sorted, they're just not going to fill up that fast. So I don't feel like we need tons and tons and tons and tons of storage for each thing down here. So let's do one more. Actually, let me, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Oops, that one's facing down. They all need to be facing into the chest, like that. And then I'm wondering, here's what I'm trying to figure out. Because ultimately I want to have a double chest that, but if both of these things are rotten flesh, then all the rotten flesh will end up in this one chest. I don't want to have to go to two different double chests for rotten flesh. I want it all to end up in one. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I guess we go down one more. Yeah, why not? Let's move my crafting table down here as well. And I think, no, we've got plenty of chests. We got plenty of iron, plenty of chests. We should be good for what we need down here. All right, so I'll do one more row of single chests right here. Which that's going to drive me crazy if they're not all facing the same direction. And now we can do double chest under these hoppers, double chest under those, and double chest under those. There. Now, what do you do when you build an elaborate hopper collection system? You go up and you test it. So let's test in this first one. We'll do stone, stone. We'll do stone, stone. And then over here, let's do smooth stone in these next two. And we'll do iron in the last two. Come back over here. Iron in the last two. Smooth stone in the middle two. So I should have 4 iron, 4 smooth stone, and I think 5 stone, because I think the stone that I broke up there. Yeah, so we got 5 stone, 4 smooth stone, and 4 iron. Okay, so all the hopper plumbing is working correctly. Now we can do the actual auto sorter. And for this, we're going to need yet more hoppers. Just going to move this back up now. I'm going to leave my water bucket right there, just in case I fall off into the water. And let's go light that up. Because it's getting dark. There should not be any spawns. Nothing should spawn down here while I'm working on it because of how Minecraft spawning mechanics work. Nothing's going to spawn within 20 or 24 blocks of you. But again, you want things to be lit up that you're working on. Okay, so let's talk about the item collection. This is, let me get my hoppers. I'm going to make a lot of hoppers here. More than 10. That probably isn't enough. Let's just go all in on the hoppers. All right, so we need some pistons, we need some obsidian, we need some redstone torches, we need some comparators, and we need some redstone dust. And I've got at least 12 of each of these because we're going to need one for each hopper. We've got 6 double chests, so that's 12 hoppers. And so I've got 12 of each of these things. So again, this design is a little bit different from what I did in season 2. I like to look at how other people build the same thing. And somebody built this on my realm, and it's just a little bit more compact than the one that I'd used, and I really liked it. But it does require the use of pistons, and so if you don't have pistons or don't want to make pistons for this, you can look at my Season 2 Gold Farm Auto Sorter for something that works just as well. It just like takes up 1 or 2 more blocks. Okay, so let me explain what happened. I've gotten almost to the end of building the redstone circuitry on this side when I realized I completely did the whole thing wrong and had to start over. So I don't know where I started building this thing from. I don't know what this thing looked like. I couldn't just revert back to before I started. So here we are with a fresh start. Pretend like this was always set up this way. All I've done is just remove some of the floor over here. So to start out, what we're going to do is come behind this row of hoppers, the one that's going into the chest, and we're going to put a solid block right behind each of these. I want to get up on top of this row, and we're going to put comparators on top of each one with the double prong side facing the hoppers and the single prong side facing away from the collection system. Now we can kind of get rid of, whoa. We can kind of get rid of the temporary row of blocks on top. That was just there to represent where more hoppers would eventually go, but now it's just kind of in the way. And then up here, we're going to put hoppers pointing into these comparators. It's not super important that they point into the comparators, but you don't want them pointing down into these hoppers. They could just point into the air, like into this way or something. The point is you don't want them leading into another hopper. So just pointing the comparators is absolutely fine. Behind these comparators, we need to have another row of blocks. So let me put a temporary block there. And then we'll do a row of block behind these comparators. So when there's something in these hoppers, this may be hard to demonstrate because as soon as I put, yeah, it's going to get pulled out. we need the locking mechanism in place first. So Underneath this row of solid blocks, plural, we're going to put obsidian, but before we do that, we need to put in some pistons underneath that. And the reason I say before is because pistons have to be oriented a certain way, and we want them facing up, which means we have to be looking down, and that's just easier to do when there's nothing above them. So let's put in a row of pistons down here, and then on top of the pistons, we will put in a row. Actually, nope, put those in the wrong place. These need to be up one block. So the pistons need to go right here, which this may be kind of hard. Yeah, see, it's going to place them sideways because I'm not high enough above the pistons because of these blocks that our comparators are on. I guess we can come out to the side here rather than undoing the comparators. I'll just put some blocks up here. That way I can get above these blocks and be looking down to place the pistons. I'll go ahead and drop down here to pick up the piston that fell into the ocean along with all these smooth stone. I feel like I'm allowed to make these kinds of mistakes because this isn't really a tutorial series, it's a Let's Play series. So I give myself a little bit more leeway. All right, behind these pistons, the block that I just broke, we actually need a block there, so I'll put that back. So behind these pistons, let's put a row of solid blocks like this. And then I'm going to put a temporary block there, and we'll place some glass on top of it. We'll do a row of glass behind the pistons. Don't need that anymore. And then we're going to have redstone directly behind these pistons, redstone on the glass. Let's go ahead and put our pistons in, not pistons, the obsidian on top of the pistons. And then directly behind the obsidian, we'll do more glass like this with redstone on top of that. So that may have been confusing because there's a lot of up and down and temporary blocks and removing blocks and everything. But ultimately, we should end up with something that looks like this. We've got a row of blocks directly behind the hoppers that lead into the chests. There's a comparator on top of that leads into a solid block. Underneath that solid block is a block of obsidian. Underneath that is a piston facing into the obsidian. The obsidian is there to ensure that the piston doesn't move any of these blocks around when it receives a redstone signal. Last thing to connect this all up is we need a redstone torch on the front side of all of the pistons like so. Now we can get rid of these temporary blocks. And this whole side should now be connected up. So the way that this works is whenever there's something in the hopper, it will emit a redstone signal into the comparator. The comparator measures the strength of however much is in here, and that sends a signal through the block into this redstone. Once the signal is strong enough that all three pieces of redstone dust are lit up, the signal passes into the piston, which turns off this torch, which unlocks this hopper, allowing things to get pulled out of that top hopper and into the chests. So as long as there are 45 or fewer things up here, this mechanism is locked because that redstone torch is turned on. If I were to throw more stuff in here, you can see it unlocks because the redstone signal is strong enough to turn off that torch, and stuff starts getting pulled out of this hopper by the hopper below it. So that's the locking mechanism that is going to allow this whole thing to work. Get these things out. And so now what we need to do is we need to decide what we want in each of these hoppers up here that's going to get pulled out to unlock the system, allowing things to flow from these locked hoppers into the collection chests. Let me see. I've got enough smooth stone. I could just do, well, but you want to use something that's never, ever, 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 ever going to go through this farm. I think probably one of the best things to do. Whoops, not that. I want an anvil. I was trying to make iron blocks out of iron blocks. Let's get an anvil. And I'm just going to name a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to name the smooth stone blocker, because now that they are named something else, you'll notice I can't stack them with normal smooth stone. And so only smooth stone named blocker can go into this stack. I should probably leave that there because I'm going to need to do this repeatedly. So let's get some gold nuggets, some gold ingots, and some rotten flesh. And we'll go plug these things up. So 45 was the magic number, which means what I'm going to do, the way I like to do this, is putting one block in each of these last 3 slots, and then 41 in this last slot. So that's 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So this thing is at its peak locked capacity. If we put anything else in here, you'll see it gets pulled out. And the only things that this hopper can pull in are rotten flesh and smooth stone named blocker. And since no smooth stone named blocker should ever run through the system, then really it's just rotten flesh. So this will only pull rotten flesh into this hopper, which will unlock it, allowing a rotten flesh to get pulled out, and then it gets locked up again. So we're going to do this for each of these. Let me go make some more named smooth stone. Okay, I had an even better, more brilliant plan. Rather than cutting up all my smooth stone, let me use my endless supply of iron that I can get from my iron farm right next door to block up these things. So we'll do this, and we'll do this in each of our hoppers, just 44 iron ingots, and then one of the thing that we want going through that hopper into the collection system. So that one was all rotten flesh. This one's going to be, let's do gold ingots. I'm just going to dump a few in here to make sure that they get pulled out. This one is also going to be gold ingots. And then for our last one over here, we will do gold nuggets. I like to do gold nuggets at the end of the gold farm, because the fourth item we're going to get from this is going to be gold swords, and they're going to pass all of these. They're not going to get pulled into any of these hoppers and go to the very end, where we're going to dump them into some blast furnaces to get smelted. And what do they turn into when you smelt them? Gold nuggets. And so we can, if we wanted to, we could feed those gold nuggets right back into this collection system at the end where we have our other gold nuggets. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do to finish up this side of the farm is connect all of these to our collection system over there. So to do this, let me go get my regular stone again. I was using that as like a temporary placeholder for these hoppers. So we're going to do hoppers going directly above this row of locked hoppers. And all of these are going to be pointing into each other. That hopper, I think, just got fed into the end. And these are going to come all the way back to our item collection system. And this one is facing the wrong way. So let's point that into that one, and then one right here going into that one. So now if we look at the bottom of these, anything in this chest is going to get pulled out into this hopper and go into this long string of hoppers. Anything in that chest will get pulled out and go into this string of hoppers. So these two chests will feed into this side of the farm, which will go into this sorting system. So now we just need to repeat this entire thing on this other side for these other two chests. And then we can work on the furnace smelting system for all of the gold swords. So I think I'm going to do the other side off camera just because it is an exact repeat of what we've already done on this side. Okay, there we go. So I've got the same auto sorting system on the right side as I installed on the left side. And you can see this one comes back to these two chests. So now anything that ends up in any of these four chests will either get sorted into the left side or the right side and ultimately get funneled down to the same collection system at the very bottom. The reason, again, that I did two sorting systems instead of just one is for throughput. This thing is going to have so many items coming through it that I worry that just one sorting system wouldn't be enough, be able to keep up with all of it. But by having two, it halves the workload of each sorting system to ensure that items don't slip through to the very end. But I also didn't want to have two collection systems, one over here and one over there, or one over here and one on that side. I just wanted everything to go to the same chest at the bottom. So this is working great. I did throw a few things in all four chests and they all ended up getting sorted into the proper double chest at the very bottom. Last thing we need to work on is the swords, the blast furnace system for the swords. So what we're going to do is drop down here. And this one's going to be a little tricky because I kind of need to build it from the top down, but I need to know where to start down here. So we're going to have a double chest for all the gold ingots to go into. Above that, we need some hoppers to pull them out of the blast furnaces. Above that, we need the blast furnaces. Above that, we need hoppers to pull items into the blast furnaces. Above that, I'm going to have a rail. And above that, I'm going to have double chest for the swords to get pulled into or pulled out of from the hoppers above that. So 6 blocks below the hoppers up there. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be where the double chest at the very bottom should go, I think. So let's come out a little ways like this, and I'll kind of build up. And then let's just go ahead and put a double chest here. And I guess technically I could have made this 1 block shorter now that I think about it, because I could have had the hoppers behind this instead of below it. Let's do that. I like that better. So if we do a double chest here, then behind this we'll do hopper going into the double chest, hopper going into the double chest, and then to the sides of this we'll do hopper going into the hoppers, like so. On top of each of these, we're going to put a blast furnace. And then on top of each blast furnace, we're going to put a hopper. Actually. Yep. Well, actually, no, this will work. This will work. This will work. We'll put some rails on top of that, and then we need double chests on top of these rails. So let's do double chest and double chest. And then I realized this is actually coming up too high. I was correct with my original count, but that's okay because these hoppers can just go into the sides of the chest like that. They don't have to be sticking down into them from above like I had originally planned. So let me just double check. If we throw something into each of these hoppers. They should end up in these double chests. Good. I realize that's like as simple of a hopper test as you can get, just having a hopper go into the side of a chest. Like, of course that should work, but I always like to make sure first. Let's go and sleep since it's getting dark. Then we need to get down next to those hoppers right here. I'm going to come out, we'll come out 2 blocks this way and then go up 1. And then we'll do powered rail, and I want to do redstone torch, which of course I did not bring with me. Is that all my redstone torches? Okay, I guess I'll make another. You know what? I've got 2 levers. I'll just do a lever. I wanted to do a redstone torch on this side because it's always going to be on. But since we have a lever and not a redstone torch, I'll just do that. So this side's always going to be on. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. Was that stone? That was stone. Rats. I wanted to do smooth stone. But not badly enough to change it. So we'll do 1, 2, and then a 3rd one here. And this one's going to be a little trickier because we need to be able to reach this to turn it on and off from down here. Okay, that'll work. We can reach that from here. Ultimately, this whole thing could get moved down because that's really high up there. But I may end up just putting some hoppers that pull the gold ingots out of that chest into these chests so that it goes into my gold ingot chest with everything else. So as long as I can reach that lever, then the rest of this is technically fine. All right, let's get back up on top. So we're going to do hopper minecart, and now that I think of it, there should only be 1 powered rail on that side. The reason being, we're going to put a hopper minecart up here, and it's just going to go back and forth. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull the swords out of these chests and spread them across these hoppers into all 4 blast furnaces. If we just did hoppers that lead from these chests into the hoppers into the blast furnaces, if one side gets more swords than the other, then one set of furnaces is going to end up smelting more. This just kind of keeps it all evenly distributed. And if we did 2 powered rails on that side, then when we turn this off, it would actually stop right here. And then when we turn it back on, it wouldn't automatically go because it wouldn't be up against a solid block. So we'll just do 1 powered rail on that side. Now for the blast furnaces, let's get behind these. Need to kind of drop down here. And we'll do hoppers going into the backs of these. And on top of these hoppers, we'll do, why am I not moving? We'll do double chests like this. And this is going to be for our fuel. So now, I'm going to do a row of blocks that leads back around to down here so that we can actually get up here to refill the fuel when necessary. So I think we're done with those blocks on that side. I'm just going to break those. Let me see. How are we going to do this? We got these things in the way. You know what I may do? I may just go straight down. Let me come over this way. And we'll just do a ladder. I was thinking about doing stairs. I think we'll just do that, and then I'll do a ladder. That way we can just climb up and put fuel into the hoppers behind that. So let me go. I think I've got a little bit of wood left. Yes. So let's turn some of this into ladders. There we go. Now we can come back here to refill the fuel for each of these blast furnaces. And now, do I actually have any fuel? I know I've got some slabs. This was the fuel that used to be in there. I'll just start with that. I recommend quick burning fuel, slabs, sticks, individual pieces of coal rather than coal blocks. And the reason being, even though blocks of coal or lava buckets will burn a lot longer, you want this thing to be able to shut off at a moment's notice. And so let's say you have this thing running for an hour, it's been smelting, it's been doing great, and then you turn it off. The last few swords go through the system, the last sword gets burnt, and a lava bucket that you were using for fuel had just activated. It's got 100 more things worth of fuel to burn, but there's nothing else to smelt. And so it's just sitting there burning nothing for the next 10 minutes, whereas slabs or sticks or individual coal, as soon as they're done, there's nothing left to smelt. You're minimizing waste. You're minimizing how many things aren't getting smelted when the furnaces are empty. So that's why I recommend quick burning fuel for this. And with that, I think we are done. I think we're ready to actually turn this thing on and see it in action. So let's come back up top. Let's just kind of double check everything, make sure I didn't break anything. So to use this new system, we do have a third lever that we need to switch. If you wanted to, you could like create some sort of redstone device that brings the signal from, let's say, this lever that turns on the portals over to the minecart so that you get the minecart going. I'm just going to come over here, manually turn that thing on before turning the gold farm on. And then we'll come over here, we'll turn that on, we'll turn that on. We'll step back since it's crazy loud. We'll let this thing run. And then if we come down here, we should start to see some blast furnaces turning on. Yep, so there's one blast furnace, so we got a sword in there. There's two blast furnaces. Alright, so we are smelting up some swords, and you can see they turned off. They smelted their sword, there was nothing else to smelt, and so there's no more burning going on. Let's check these chests. Yeah, we're definitely getting some rotten flesh. We're getting some gold ingots, we're getting some gold nuggets. We're getting some gold nuggets from these swords being smelted up. So I think everything is working. One thing that you might want to periodically do. Okay, it suddenly got quiet and I was like, why did it turn off? So one thing that you might want to periodically do is just check your blast furnaces and make sure that they're not clogged. Like this. That was from construction. That was my fault. Mea culpa. But even with normal operations, sometimes rotten flesh, gold nuggets, gold ingots, they might still slip through the system and end up in your blast furnaces, and they will clog it up like my powered rail and block of stone just did. And so in that case, you'll need to manually remove it to keep it going. If you see some furnaces burning and other furnaces not burning, then you know it's clogged. I mean, not always. Like in this case, there's just nothing else to burn. So yeah, I think I'm going to let this run for a while. I'll make sure that everything is working as intended. I think my rotten flesh is going to be the one that fills up the fastest. And right now, I just really don't care about rotten flesh. So I may just periodically come in and just like toss all this into the ocean or something to get rid of it. Because really all I want is experience and gold. Don't care so much about the rotten flesh. Alright, let's turn this off. My goodness. This thing is so good. I'm so glad this one keeps up with the spawn rate. My one from Season 2, it was really neat. A really cool farm. It just couldn't keep up with the spawn rate. Both in terms of killing the mobs and sorting the items. But this one does. And I'm really happy about that. Alright, so there is our auto-sorting gold farm. This was a big relief. I've been needing to do this for a while. I just needed to take a break and work on some other stuff first. I'm going to turn this off just so that my hopper minecart doesn't accidentally despawn, as hopper minecarts sometimes do when you leave the area. And then I'll turn it back on whenever I want to run this farm. But there is our auto-sorting gold farm system. So thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, please hit that like button. And while you're down there, feel free to subscribe so you'll get notified of future episodes as they come out. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day.